Torah study.
I'm sorry?
I always go on Friday.
Oh, but isn't that a conflict? But you never go when Stan's leading?
Not never. Under certain circumstances. The cover Torah, I don't go.
It's a religious thing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a religious thing. But listen, I can handle it. I'm okay.
Glad to hear that.
I wasn't worried about you.
Yeah, I see Doug. Hi, Doug. Good morning. I see Roy. Okay. Are you in blue, kind of blue and yellow like Ukraine, or?
Actually, it's blue and yellow like Berkeley, but actually, given the time, it's perfect for the political. It definitely expresses my political sentiments.
Super. Okay. I mean, I should have known Berkeley, but okay.
But I actually my thesis was on Russian history, so this is my wheelhouse.
Interesting. What era, or I mean, you couldn't do all of Russian history. What did you focus on?
I did study all of it, but my focus was on Soviet Russia.
Wow.
And I wrote a thesis on Stalin's third show trial.
I'm going to try to find something nice to say. It's fascinating, incredibly important. That it is. And Putin is still looking to be czar. So
yeah,
there's always a chance. Okay, Roy, one quick question. This will be a test. What is your attitude toward Catherine the First?
The Great?
Yep.
Ambivalent.
Okay, I have a friend who totally admires her, totally. And I think that told me that she put on her tombstone or whatever, she had friends, something like that.
A whole lot of them.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, we are going to get started. Let me just finish saying hello to Harv and Mara, not Marv, Harv and Mara, to Lindsay. Good morning, Lindsay. Hi. Warren and Phyllis, who are not visible. Oh, okay, that's better. Ben or Benjamin, what are you, Ben?
Benjamin.
Oh. I knew a rabbi who absolutely would not permit anyone to address him by the diminutive of his name. Absolutely would not. If you use the diminutive of his name, he would not respond to you. You don't exist.
I'll respond to anything, Rabbi. Anything that's close, I'll respond to.
Okay, thanks. Okay, I see Panina. Shabbat shalom, be'erech.
Shalom.
Brad. Hi, Brad. Ruth Levine, Ellen Bornstein. Have I said hello to? Oh, I have to say hello to Risa. I don't have to say. I mean, whatever. I did.
Good morning.
It's good to see everybody. Thank you so very much for joining. Baruch atah Adonai
Eloheinu
melech haolam
asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu
asok
b'divrei
b'divrei
Torah.
Terrific. And then we add another blessing of prayer for peace, for sanity, for respect of human life, for justice. We pray for that as Shabbos begins. We pray. Calendar. This evening, there is what looks to me to be a great program at Wilshire, Standing Up to a Modern Haman. That's the program, I think. And it's going to be with violin. It's going to be beautiful. And Risa and I will be there. Then there is a classical concert Purim fundraiser for the Ukraine. That's a big sentence. Sunday, March 20th, 4 p.m. Sunday, March 20th, 4 p.m. at the University Synagogue campus. and I'm just reading the blurb here, with acclaimed Los Angeles virtuosos and Wilshire Boulevard Temple congregants Jason Lipman, Karen Schweitzer, Dennis Carmazin, and Vanessa Fadiel. So they will be there. This sounds utterly superb. March 20th, 4 p.m., much to look forward to. And then not so much to look forward to, though it's going to be good. My current events class, Wednesday, March 16th at noon, and people are invited to come and to argue, to express their views. And I have to assure you, people do. And I will, step out of my normal neutral situation. Obviously, tomorrow morning, Chevra Torah beginning at 9 a.m. And I have to assure you that what I'm teaching tomorrow morning at 9 is not what I'm teaching today. Fine.
Your program on Shabbat tomorrow doesn't show on the calendar. I don't know why.
It does.
Yeah, it's there. I saw it on one calendar.
Oh,
So,
good. Okay.
yeah.
Is Sunday afternoon going to be live streamed?
Lisa, what's the answer to that? It's a fundraiser. I know we're going to be in person,
I don't think so.
Merle, are you talking about the 20th?
Okay.
the 20th. Maybe we
The
have,
20th.
I think it's going to be live streamed. Don't quote me on that, but I can find out for sure.
Okay,
Thank
thank you.
thank you. Okay. I know Dennis Carmazin, and I wonder if he has to remove his performances with the Bolshoi and the Kirov Ballet from his CV. I will ask him. I will ask him that. Okay, this evening we're going to do something which I hope will be fun, because I think it is fun. This Friday evening, we begin Shabbat Zakhor. Shabbat Zakhor, the Sabbath of Remembrance. So we're going to start off, and this is very participatory, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to put you on the spot, and let's have some fun. How many special Shabbatot during the year can you name? Shabbat Zakhor, the Sabbath of Remembrance, which comes immediately before Purim, is one. Shabbat Zakhor, the Sabbath of Remembrance. Fine. Can you, by simply showing an electronic hand, give me another Shabbat, a special named Shabbat? Electronic hands, please. But Cindy, I will nevertheless call on you. There you go.
Shabbat Shira.
Shabbat Shira. Yep. And I'm going to have to cross these off to make sure that I get the one. Shabbat Shira, that's the one that comes dealing with the Exodus from Egypt. Shabbat Shira, Exodus chapter 15. Yep. Okay. Any other special Shabbatot? Okay. Penina?
Shabbat HaGadol, I'm not sure exactly when.
Shabbat
does this
HaGadol absolutely fits in. Shabbat HaGadol, which is my favorite Shabbat. And so you're going to ask why, and I'm going to tell you. That is the Shabbat when the rabbi gives the longest sermon of the year.
Okay.
So it is a special blessing. And it's true. In an Orthodox synagogue on Shabbat HaGadol, immediately prior to Pesach, the rabbi will go over all the laws of chametz and this and that, and it goes on forever. And I think that too is a blessing. Okay. Any others? Any others? Do we see? Okay, Steve.
I think there's a Shabbat Shuvah.
Shabbat Tshuva. And when is that, Steve?
Isn't that around the holidays? Like Holy
Yeah,
Day?
it's in between Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. Shabbat Shuvah.
Yeah.
The rabbis also, and please don't tell people that I'm sharing rabbinic secrets with you. We call that the Shabbat of the empty pew. You got Rosh Hashanah, you got Yom Kippur and the Sabbath in between, Shabbat, Shuvah, right?
Right.
Oh, look, there are 4 people there. Risa.
I just forgot the words. The Shabbat that goes with Tisha B'Av.
Okay,
I
so,
can't remember the name.
okay, you have Shabbat Nachamu.
Nachum.
There we go.
Shabbat Nachamu, which is the Shabbat after Tisha B'Av, the Shabbat in which we're supposed to comfort the people. And does anyone know the name of the Shabbat prior to Tisha B'Av? Also a special Shabbat.
Is it Nachamu?
Shabbat Chazon. Chazon.
Oh,
It
Chazon.
starts,
Okay.
yeah, it does Isaiah, Shabbat Chazon, Chazon, Yeshayahu, Ben Amos, and that's the Sabbath of vision. Okay, Shabbat Nachamu. Let's see, doing well. Okay, now the less important ones, and I'm going to forgive you for not mentioning. There's always a Shabbat which begins the week during which a Jewish month begins on the Hebrew calendar. So it's called Shabbat Mavarchim, the Sabbath in which we bless the forthcoming month. I mean, okay. And then in the big holidays like Shabbat and Pesach and Sukkot, Pesach and Sukkot, there's a special name for the Shabbat in the middle of those long holidays, the holiday of Passover, holiday of Sukkot, Tabernacles. We call it Shabbat Chol HaMoed,
Oh my God.
the Sabbath
Oh.
of the intermediate days of the festival. Okay, I mean, that was
Okay.
okay. All right, you're going to get an okay for that. So we know that many Shabbatot, and that's fun.
Is
And
Rosh Chodesh a special Shabbat?
Rosh Chodesh, the new month, is special for its day, but it doesn't fall necessarily on a Shabbat.
Oh,
Okay.
right, okay.
Rosh Chodesh Adar, we just had Rosh Chodesh Adar too because of the leap year, and that wasn't on a Shabbat. Okay, now let's go to our work. How did Shabbat Zakhor, the Sabbath of Remembrance, get its name? Why does it carry that name? I'm open for a comment. Penina?
One guess is because it says Zachor et Yom HaShabbat lekodsho.
No, the Shabbat doesn't work. No, so but Shabbat Zakhor prior to Purim.
Okay,
Was-
because of what happened on Purim, probably.
was-
I don't know.
that's come on, that's cheap, right? I mean, yes. Okay. Now,
Okay.
it was in Deuteronomy. I'm going to ask you to remember this the next time we meet. Deuteronomy chapter 25, verse 17. Deuteronomy 25, 17. Deuteronomy 25, 17. I just admitted an iPhone. I don't know who that is, but we have an iPhone. Hello, iPhone.
Okay.
They're from Los Angeles.
Okay, yeah, I mean, that's fine. Because we are reading Zachor et Asher Asa Lacha Amalek.
Yeah.
The passage from Deuteronomy 25 reads, and I'm going to read these few verses. Zakhor, remember what Amalek did to you on your journey after you left Egypt. How, undeterred by fear of God, Amalek surprised you on the march when you were famished and weary and cut down all the stragglers in your rear. Therefore, when the eternal your God grants you safety from all your enemies around you in the land that the eternal your God has given you, hereditary portion, blot out the memory of Amalek from under heaven Do not forget. Ladies and gentlemen, in case anyone is interested in the subtleties of language, this is a call to wipe out a people. Let's be clear. Wipe out Amalek. Zakhor, what Amalek did to you. Amalek attacked, it's in at the book of Exodus. Amalek attacked the Israelites as they were straggling out of Egypt into the desert, and attacked from the rear, and attacked, therefore, the weakest, the ill, and the least capable of defending themselves. This is a call to genocide. It is that. By the way, it never happened, but it's here. Now, at the end of it, it says, Timche, wipe out, Zakhor, there's that word again, Amalek. Wipe out the memory of Amalek from under the heavens. And then this goes with the Zakhor. Zakhor, remember, and the verses end, Altiskach, don't forget. It's a pretty serious statement. Now, I have to ask you, since it's in my lesson plan, what's that got to do with Purim? Why do we read this on the Shabbat prior to Purim? I see Risa. I see, okay. Risa, where did you go?
I'm here.
Oh, you're over there. You jumped in my window. Don't do that to me. Okay.
It's the end of the Megillah.
Pardon?
It's the end of Megillat Esther.
Yeah.
It's connected, but you're not exactly on topic, Cindy.
That Haman tried to commit genocide.
And please, you're also circling like Kiev. You're circling.
I mean,
this-
Haman was the Amalek of his time.
No,
No?
Haman was of Amalek. In other words, we have other Amaleks. We would call them Amalekites. We have other Amaleks in Jewish history. There is a tradition from the Talmud that Haman was descended from Amalek. So when we encounter Haman in the Purim story, for the Jewish memory, this is Amalek Redux. It's back. Amalek is back. Haman is Amalek. And look what happens when you let Amalek live. Haman is Amalek. So tomorrow morning in services, we will read an extra little tiny portion, that thing we read from Deuteronomy, along with the regular Torah portion, the regular Sedra, Leviticus 1:1 and following. And the idea is to prep ourselves for the coming on March 16th of Amalek, of Purim, and all that involved. We're going to go on with a little bit. I saw a hand. Did I see? No, we go on. Oh, Penina, did you know? Yes? No?
It actually, it's kind of like ties up to what we discussed in the middle of the week regarding the importance of the temple, that it was united. The people were uniting at the temple, and with destruction of the.
I want to stay, Penina. I want to stay away from the temple.
No. What I'm saying is that whole idea is if they're not united, they're going to let themselves be subject to another Amalek. They're supposed to be together, a people, and guard this whole unity, because that's what made them strong.
Let me point out something interesting, which I suspect you already know. The IDF, the Israel Defense Forces, have a policy regarding stragglers. It's official Army doctrine. The Army marches with the slowest and the weakest up front. When Reese and I were guiding youth trips to Israel, which we did 7 summers. When we marched our kids, often in the desert, we did Sinai, we did the Negev, we did all kinds of stuff. When we had the kids actually walking from location to location, when we were going up Masada, the slowest ones went first. And we taught the kids that way about, okay, Risa, you were carrying, don't be angry at me. Yes.
Well, you have one exception.
Yeah, but I needed you to be at the end of the line so we don't lose any kids. We eventually caught up with you. I mean, or you caught up with us.
I ran up the Roman ramp.
Okay, but that's yesterday. Forget it. Okay, now, so there's a mitzvah in the Torah. The Torah actually has one of the 613 mitzvot is to remember Amalek. Okay? It's not just a casual thing. It is one of the mitzvot. Zakhor, remember, lo tishkach. Don't forget. And we are required in the Talmud, it makes it clear, we are required during Purim time to tell our children exactly what the people of Amalek did to us as we were leaving Egypt. At the moment of our most serious vulnerability, they fell on you, us. Okay. And this mitzvah, according to the Talmud, will never be fulfilled until we have caused Amalek's name and memory to be erased from the world. Jewish tradition views Amalek with horror. This is important. Why? Because, not to be totally up to date, I mean, to go into Roy's world, Jews referred to Stalin as Amalek. Jews referred to Hitler as Amalek. And today, in congregations all across the world, though I haven't seen them, my colleagues, creative and original all, are tomorrow or tonight referring to Putin as Amalek. Okay, it's interesting how that will work. Now, how do I know that's true? Trust me, I know it's going to happen. What's the difference in our Torah, little Torah selection? It says, Zakhor, remember Amalek, Altiskach, don't forget. That's redundant. The Torah, may I assure you, is never redundant. Since God spoke every word, can you imagine God ever being redundant? That statement was in quotation marks. Okay, now, what's the difference between Zakhor and Altiskach? Between remember and don't forget? What's the difference? Do I see a hand? What's the difference? What's the difference? Benjamin. You're muted, Benjamin.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
I just, from a lay perspective, to remember something would be to have it in your conscience and be aware of it, and maybe not thinking about it every minute, but it's, you know, my late parents, I remember them, they're part of my experience. To not forget, we used to say, you don't know what you don't know. So once you forget something, it's gone. You don't know that you forgot it.
Okay, cool. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Harv. You're muted, apparently. Yes, you are muted. Okay, Harv. Are you
there?
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. When you say don't forget, that implies you've already remembered something. And that would be the difference for me.
You've brought it in, hold on to it. Good. The Talmud has a slightly different take. Risa?
I think remember is an active thing and don't forget is passive.
That is correct as how the Talmud tries to divide it up. I don't want to argue whether remembering or not forgetting is active or passive, which way it goes. But the rabbis in the Talmud specifically said, hold on to the knowledge, but act on it. I remember the first time I went to Yad Vashem, they handed out I don't know if they still do this, little pins that said Zakhor, remember. So you go into the Holocaust Memorial thing and they hand you Zakhor. Later, on their printed material, they moved from Zakhor to Zachor Altiskach. Remember and act upon what you know. That's a very powerful call to action. That is a very powerful call. Merle.
I'm thinking that remember, I think it was Benjamin, you remember your parents, you remember family, dear friends, really amazing situations, but somehow don't forget, to me, falls in the same category as never forget, like with the Holocaust. That if we stop teaching the Holocaust, or if survivors stop teaching or aren't alive anymore to teach, who's going to teach our children and grandchildren? So don't forget, to me, is that you have to keep this in your head so that you can explain to people what happened and why.
Okay, so one could say, Merle, that an act of remembering includes teaching.
Yes.
Altiskach for you. I mean, I'm saying that those words can be played with either way. I don't really care, but an act of remembering could involve teaching generations, exposing, making the world know, having a memorial, whatever. Altiskach is deeply personal. I have to tell you that when I watch the refugees, 1.5 million, I lose track of the number. I forget. I mean, it's somewhere probably north of that now. And the correspondents are there with their cameras and their microphones, and they're seeing the wailing bubbies, right? The grandmothers and the little babies with the mothers. And my mind is instantly into a Holocaust scenario. It just is. And that memory drives me to distraction. And I begin humming to myself, when will they ever learn? When will people ever learn? And to me, it's an active part of remembering. We're going to go on unless there is a point to be made. Okay, now, a boy who is not yet of bar mitzvah age is not allowed to read this passage in an Orthodox synagogue, because the boy doesn't have an obligation until the boy, we would say kids, until they reach the age of 13. So they don't want someone standing up before the congregation, reading to the congregation, Zachor Altiskach, if they themselves are not obligated. It's a very, very interesting kind of a thing. So the young people do not, because he or she does not have the obligation. So Penina, then we go on. Penina.
Okay, there is two ways. This is two forms of saying don't do it. Altiskach, it's don't, it's the don't. The Zakhor is the yes. So in Altiskach, you're giving him kind of like, oh, don't do it. It's not as strong. You are giving him a negative things, but Zakhor, it's more like a command. So there is the negative and the positive, and it all depends on the state of mind of the person who actually hears it. So they don't give you any choice. Wherever it is a state of mind that you're going to be in, you have to do it.
Either way.
Right.
Zachor, Altiskach, either way,
Yeah.
hold on to it. Now,
That's it.
thank you for that. Zakhor is a familiar word to us. I just happen to have a prayer book here. It just by chance happens to be open to the Shabbat, Erev Shabbat Kiddush. Barei Pri Hagafen, Shabbat Kocho Biavar, Zikaron, Zecher. Do you hear the Zecher in that? Zikaron Lama'aseh V'Reshit. So we're making Kiddush. Why? To remember the acts of creation. And then one line later, this is so interesting if you pay attention to it. I get excited about a lot of things. This is so interesting. And we do Shabbos to remember creation. It's the beginning. Zecher l'tziyat Mitzrayim. It puts in two different zechers. We do Kiddush to remember creation, and we also do Kiddush to remember the Exodus from Egypt. In creation, a cosmos comes into being. In the Exodus, the Jewish people comes into existence. Zecher and Zakhor. So the next time you're doing Kiddush, be aware. Oh, I heard one Zakhor, one more is coming. Fine. We stop praying, and then we say, wait. There's another Zakhor. Erev Shabbos. I'm going to pause. When else do we really hit the word Zakhor? Okay, Donna, I got your message. Terrific. We'll talk to you. I know you'll see us later on the film, the video. Fine. When else do we talk about Zakhor? Lecha dodi likrat, right? Shamor. Zakhor. Do you hear it again? Zakhor. It's back again. Zakhor. Memory is really big in the Jewish world. It says Shamor v'Zakhor b'dibur echad. Translate: Shamor, keep, v'Zakhor, remember, were said at the same time. What does that verse, what problem does that verse answer? It's really an important verse. I mean, I'd like to sing it, but it also is an important verse. Shamor v'Zakhor b'dibur echad. Keep, remember, were said at one time. What's the question that verse answers? Risa, you have your hand.
Okay. From the two different versions of the Ten Commandments between Exodus and Deuteronomy to Shamor at Shabbat, Zakhor.
I don't like it when someone gives a completely correct answer, but that is completely correct. Absolutely. There are two different occasions, two sets of 10 commandments, two occasions in which the 10 commandments are listed in the Torah. One is in Exodus chapter 20, then in Deuteronomy. And they're mostly alike, but they're not exactly alike. Zakhor et Yom HaShabbat l'kadsho, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Shamor et Yom HaShabbat l'kadsho. What's the problem that those are different versions of the same commandment? What's the problem? What's the problem? What do we have? I'm going to try to get some other people to answer. What's the problem? Come on, Doug, help me here. What's the problem? And in Exodus, remember the Deuteronomy, keep what's the nice commandment? What's the problem? Folks, God said it once. God said it once. But this one says Zakhor, and this one says Shamor. And what does the Lachadodi text tell us? Shamor v'Zakhor b'dibur echad. Shamor et Yom HaShabbat, Zakhor et Yom HaShabbat were said simultaneously by God. And that answers the theological problem as to how we have a text in Exodus, a text in Deuteronomy, which should be an exact quote of what God said to us. But they're different. Not to worry, the rabbis in the Talmud said, because God said them both at the same time. And if you have trouble with that answer, then you have trouble with God being omnipotent. God can do whatever God wants. I have trouble with God being omnipotent, but that's a separate discussion for a separate day. So this is all fun. Zecher, zecher, zecher. And now, in the time that we have left, let's talk about remembering. Let's talk about remembering. Brad, how does memory function in your life? Said he, calling upon someone who had not raised his hand.
Well, you know, what I've been thinking about during this whole discussion is that remember and do not forget are both, to me, examples of what we would call voluntary memory. But Marcel Proust, in Remembrances of Things Past, for example, talks about a different type of memory, involuntary memory, where we taste a Madeleine cookie and our whole childhood comes flooding back to us. And it's those moments of involuntary memory, which are much more meaningful to us, I think, than when we try to remember something. And I'm not sure that the Torah gets to that issue.
I think that's fine. The only objection I have is when you referred to Madeleine as a cookie. that will not stand. It is more than a cookie. Okay, but all right. So yes, so yeah, I understand. For example, I brought that reflection of mine when I see what's going on in the Ukraine. It triggers memory, not voluntary. It's a trigger, and things trigger. Okay. Oh, it says Marvin. You're not.
I know it. I didn't change it to Miriam yet, but I'm not. I'm not Marvin. I'm really Miriam. I might look like Marvin, but I'm Miriam. Anyhow, Rabbi, I was fortunate enough when I was at Brooklyn College, not years ago, decades and decades ago, to have Maslow as my psychology teacher at Brooklyn College.
You're kidding.
No, he not only was my teacher, but he was my personal friend.
Whoa.
And what he would talk about a great deal, among other things, he started the whole transcendentalism ideas and all that. He would talk about our forgettery. He said psychologists and therapists want to hear much more about our forgettery than about our memory.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Am I going out? Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. He wanted to talk about what he called our forgettery. Let's concentrate, everybody, on our forgettery. not our memory,
Or forgettery.
our forgettery. And therapists would like to hear a lot more about our forgettery than our memory. And let's concentrate on that. So I just wanted to bring that in for a moment because you're talking about memory. And I enjoy very much what you're saying. I always do, by the way. I always learn from you.
And
I said I always learn from you. And I appreciate what you're saying.
Okay.
I love the idea that memory has different parts to it. And in Hebrew, we actually have different ways of saying Zakhor. And so we appreciate that too. Thank you so much.
We're actually going to get to that, Panina.
Okay. Shamor v'Zakhor. Zakhor is you just remember. Shamor is you keep on practicing it. You got to value it and do not let it go or pass by. You practice it. The word shomer is a keeper, somebody who is on guard all the time.
Yep.
And we say lo yanum velo yishan shomer Israel. You're not supposed to fall asleep and let go of your duty. Lishmor et Shabbat, it's to practice it. You literally don't go to work. You literally supposed to look over the whole creation, and then took the rest of the day off, like the God rested when he finished creation, whatever it is. And that's the day that you're supposed to say to the world, I'm not a machine. I'm in control of my own actions. I can tell between good and bad. I was given that particular talent and capability. So I keep doing it. I don't go to work. I go now today you go to temple. You actually you just don't go to work. You rest. That's
Good.
it.
Good. Thank you for that. Remembering. In preparation for today, I did some looking up about remembering. And I read one quote, which I absolutely loved. And I now claim to have originated the quote. This is mine. I don't know who originally said it, so I'm going to steal it. We don't wake up each morning as blank slates. I really like that. We enter the world. We don't wake up as blank slates. We see what is through the lens, the memory of what was. Hold on to that. We see what is through the memory of what was. We don't wake up with a blank slate. So that everything we learn, everything we encounter, everything that we read or discuss is filtered, or use the lens, filtered through where we have been, what we remember. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Stanley Davids statement as to why propaganda is so important. Propaganda creates a framework, a lens, through which people see what's happening around them. And when we sometimes ask, and I'm not going to be, you have to come Wednesday to do the current event stuff, but propaganda shapes how the Russian people see the news, whatever news they're allowed to see. They see it through the lens. They don't just see facts. And so propaganda conditions people or forces upon them a lens through which to see what's happening. I, Roy, only took 1 year of Russian history in college. I mean, I skipped a great deal. But I had a really fine professor who traveled each year during the summer months to the Soviet Union with one mission in mind: to see the most current changes in the Russian encyclopedia. Because volumes were removed in those days every single year, edited and replaced. This is how the people were trained to see the world. It shaped the lens through which they saw the truth. Can I say this? I guess it's true. Messages from the past are forever being revised. And that's a pretty, by the way, not just in the form, not just in the Soviet Union, but here too. The past is constantly being subjected to revision. Part of, and I am certainly no constitutional expert, but part of the battle in the Supreme Court is the lens through which a justice looks at the Constitution. With different lenses, you get different facts. You get different impact. I love the phrase. Oh, my favorite phrase among a few others, original intent. Oh, yeah, I know the original intent. Baloney. Nobody knows. You read, you can read some papers, but you don't know. But original intent, my lenses, this is what they meant, and I'm sticking to it. And you can't argue lenses. This is my lens. That's how I see it. And it creates incredible, incredible tension. Fun fact. We have a couple of people with strong Israeli background. What is the Hebrew word for history?
Historia.
Excuse me, that's the Greek word. Give me the Hebrew. You know what I'm saying, Panita.
Okay, we have two different things. We have Divrei Hayamim, that was supposed to tell you history. It's a book in the Bible, Divrei Hayamim.
Okay.
And Avar.
Let's make it simple.
No, I don't think there's a word. I don't think there is a word.
Got it. If you can believe this, there is no word in Hebrew for history.
Right.
No word in Hebrew for history. We have Divrei Hayamim, chronicles,
right,
in translation.
Right.
We have Zichronot, memories.
We have Ketuvim, but that's not history.
That's writings.
No,
that's not history.
No, Miriam, we don't have it. There is no word. It's astonishing. It's astonishing. So I'm just completing a book which, God willing, goes to the printer publisher in May. I'm knocking on wood and this and poo and so forth. And it deals with Jewish intellectual history. I will annoy you about this later. Scholars today are still seriously debating what so many of us grew up believing was the history of the Jewish people. There is so much under challenge. You remember the story of Yochanan ben Zakkai, the rabbi who was snuck out of Jerusalem at the time of the Roman encircling and then eventually Rome destroyed? And the story that Yochanan ben Zakkai said, he made some predictions Fine. And what do you want, Rabbi? Give me Yavne and its scholars, he said. It is part of a legend that in Yavne, the Bible was canonized, completed, sealed. And it's not true. The Council of Yavne, which canonized the Bible in every book our kids study, never happened. In case you're feeling put upon, you can speak with your Catholic friends and say, you know the Council of Nicaea, right? Brad, you heard of the Council of Nicaea. Never happened. It didn't exist. The Council of Nicaea was supposed to drive out from the nascent Catholic community people who were, different views of the Trinity and so forth. And the Council of Nicaea set the stage and created the rules, and it never happened. The Council of Nicaea never happened. The Council at Yavne never happened. Memory is toyed with. Brad, you had your hand up?
Well, I think what you're getting at, Rabbi, is the recreative power of memory. That memory isn't just I can't think of the word, but it's just not a copy of the past. I mean, each time we remember, we are, in a sense, recreating what happened before. And as a result, that's perfectly understandable to me that you would not have a word for history in Hebrew, because it's constantly in flux, this recreation of the past.
And that's so counterintuitive, right? When you say to someone, this is the history. Oh, that must be true. Miriam.
I always enjoy what you say, Brad, and I think you're a very profound thinker. I truly do. But I do disagree with you. Why do we have the right for what you call a recreative memory? That means that we can do what we wish with the facts. Memory is memory. It cannot be recreated. That would be called lying. To me, that would be a very euphemistic, nice way of saying that they're lying about what they once thought was right, and now they're recreating it.
I see dawn breaking in the world. And Miriam, you know about the 10 lost tribes?
Whatever. No, I don't know much about anything, but okay. Yeah. Let me hear about them.
You know about them. Anyway, there's this whole tradition of the 10 lost tribes, right? The northern kingdom of Israel was destroyed. The 10 tribes were exiled, absorbed into the world at large, and disappeared. Actually, what happened was that when the northern kingdom was destroyed, the people were scattered about, and when the southern kingdom of Judah was conquered, moved south. That this search for the 10 lost tribes, when Risa and I were in India, and one of the great moments we had, we were actually allowed a meeting with B'nai Menashe. B'nai Menashe, the sons of Manasseh, claim to be descendants of one of the 10 lost tribes, the tribe of Manasseh. They claim that they moved from Palestine across India to the Indo-Chinese border. And there they survived for 2,500 years, preserving Jewish identity, the fact that they are totally Asian in appearance, totally, and that what they remember of their tradition is a bit haphazard. The claim that they are descendants of the tribe of Manasseh is not possible. But since they claim their Jewish identity, Israel has absorbed them into the Jewish world of Israel. And I celebrate that. I think that is cool and exciting, right? But the 10 lost tribes were never all that much lost. It's a reshaping of memory. It's that which we believe. Did George Washington cut down that cherry tree? We know George didn't. Okay. Penina, you have a question.
I don't have a question. It brings me back to the value of the temple. We were talking about.
Let's stay away from the temple. I want to stay.
About the people, yes. But it was the place where they gathered, and their unity in knowing who they are was taking shape while they were rallying around the temple. That's why the first thing that gave them the identity of being one nation. That's why when there was an exile, the first thing that the Romans did and the Assyrian did is destroy the temple, because it was supposed to demolish their identity.
We're not going to focus on the temple today.
Okay, it was a symbol for their identity.
Super.
And the same thing, every nation have their own temples. That's the reason, because this is where they assemble.
Well, I wanted to respond to Miriam, for whom I have. Miriam, are you there?
Boxes right next to each other, so you can go at it.
For Miriam,
Yes.
for whom I have ultimate respect, but I also beg to differ, because when I think of my own memories, my memories of my childhood, I often wonder, am I really remembering what really happened back then, or is it a recreation in my mind of what happened? So I think there can be, and there is a recreative power to memory, which is not just a copy. I'm thinking of I can't think of the word. We talk about a rubbing.
Oh, yes, I know what you mean. Like on a gravestone?
Where it's
a rubbing on stone, sure.
It's not necessarily a copy. Yes, there are the same elements, but we've recreated them in a certain way. So
okay,
a palimpsest. That's the word. Palimpsest.
Palimpsest. Okay, got it.
Brad, I'm just going to answer in one sentence so I don't talk too much. I think what you're saying makes sense. It sounds good, but then how will we ever know the truth? Or is there no truth? Or as somebody says to God, oh God, help me seek the truth, but save me from those who have found it. In other words, I'm looking for the truth, but don't let me be in touch with anybody who's found it. I don't want those people. But what's so interesting, Rabbi, this is the first time I thought of this when you mentioned the tribe of Manasseh. To my knowledge, the tribe of Manasseh never went without Ephraim. It was always the two. It never went without Ephraim. It was always the two sons of Joseph, Manasseh and Ephraim, together. To my knowledge, they were never separated. And I never heard of the tribe of Manasseh without Manasseh, Ephraim.
I have a scientific proof for you. Go to Jerusalem, to the Hadassah Chapel, the Chagall windows. And there is Manasseh and Shimon. They're there.
Manasseh and Ephraim, not Shimon. Manasseh and Ephraim always go together. And there are only 12. There are only 12 windows.
Yes.
The Menashe and Ephraim were separated. There would be 13 windows.
Okay, but you see, Miriam, the problem is you don't come to my class Saturday morning. I don't want to criticize you, okay? But
Now, I'm sorry, I'm sleeping.
that's yes.
Better there in my bed than in your classroom.
I don't want to hear this. Okay.
So we are going back to a building. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay. What you have is there are either 11 tribes or 13. The number 12 doesn't work. Either we have a Joseph tribe or we have Ephraim and Manasseh. A Joseph tribe pulls out 2, replaces with 1, so we have 11. Or if we divide Joseph to his 2 sons, you have 13.
Okay.
Of course, our Chaver Torah Shabbos morning, we know that. Now, in the Hadassah Chapel window, Mark Chagall knew it, so he did 1 window / with both of them in the same window. That's how he got to 12. So Ephraim and Manasseh are in the same window. So in any event, ladies and gentlemen, I want to end with this. I want to quote the Baal Shem Tov, which is fun. The Baal Shem Tov taught, forgetfulness leads to exile, while remembrance is the secret of redemption. I'd like to leave you with that. Okay? That's, where is that verse found? Guarding the exit from Yad Vashem. That's where that verse is found. Again, forgetfulness leads to exile, while remembrance is the secret of redemption. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Thank you.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you. This was great.
Shabbat Shalom.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you all.
Shabbat Shalom.
Good Shabbos.
Shalom. Thank you, Rabbi.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Rabbi.
You're always so provocative. I love that. You're what you say is provocative. It's soul searching. It's very interesting and very important. Thank you.
I hate to interrupt you, but I'm going to thank you all. Love you. Bye-bye.